What's going on, everybody? This is C3 here back to a brand new video. It's about 6 p.m. where I'm at locally. Had work this morning. Had planned to record this video last night and then have it to set to upload at 11 a.m. as I've been doing in the past, but I just forgot. I was already in bed. Didn't feel like getting up, turning on the computer again and doing that. So I decided to do it after work. Anyways, this is the second day of the round two. We now have, after these games for you, we now have the Sweet 16 set. We'll have today and tomorrow off, and then Wednesday actually we have 3 days. Wow, it'll be Thursday when the Sweet 16 will play again. So they've got 3 days of rest. But let's go ahead and get started here. Number 2 seed Marquette versus number 10 seed Colorado. I got to watch the end of this game, and this was pretty close all the way. Marquette looked in danger, but they pulled it out late against Colorado. Like I've said before, it's very important in March Madness to get those close wins where you will yourself to victory. And this is one of those games for Marquette. 14% from three versus Colorado's 10 of 30. Not a lot of free throws for both teams in this game. But a big win for Marquette. We've got number one Purdue, Utah State. This was a bit of a shock. Purdue smacked them 106 to 67, which is very embarrassing. If we go ahead and look at Zach Edey's stats, see what he did. 23 points, 14 rebounds. So not as best as his first round, but still pretty good. And Purdue is shocking the world right now, I suppose. I mean, they really faced a 16 seed and an 8 seed, but as we all know, they have lost to super low seeds before, and so they are doing a lot better so far than last time. But they've got a real test coming up in Gonzaga. They've got 12 seed James Madison and Duke. Now, this was a big shock that Duke smacked them. I think at halftime it was like 40 to 20 or something. I think it was 25 to 9 at one point. Duke just from start to get go played them really, really tough. James Madison plays very good defense, very in your face defense, very physical. And Duke, again, for the most of the year, has not been a physical team and has shied away from physicality, in my opinion, which is why they are only a 4 seed because they have a lot of talent, but they just not a very tough team. But Duke showcased that they do have that ability. They went at James Madison defense and used their defense to get them and played very aggressive on offense, scored quickly, and just great, great, great game for Duke. 93 to 55. People thought this game was going to go down to the wire, and people thought this was a potential upset right here. Duke shot very, very well, obviously. 14 of 28 from 3-point range. That's very impressive. Meanwhile, JMU only shot 22%, so they did not have a good shooting game. 72% from free throw range. Gotta get that number better. Duke has not been the best free throw shooting team this year either, especially Mr. With 6 turnovers, which is very impressive for Duke. Only 6. Filipowski, who's not the best free throw shooter. He had 14 points. Jared McCain, though, had 30 points. He was 8 of 11 from 3-point range. He has been going off in this March Madness. I've said this all year that I thought he was their best player by far, the most skilled player, and he needs to be a bit more dominant, and he did that today. Pride Proctor also had a great game. 4 of 10 from 3-point range, had 18 points, including 5 assists. So they will be facing number one seed Houston. Going up to this one, Clemson and Baylor. This one was also pretty close. Baylor brought it back, and then towards the end, Clemson pulled away again, 72-64. Clemson was one of those teams that was picked heavily to lose in the first round. They are now in the Sweet 16. Again, they had a really great start to the season, had it down in the middle, and have really picked it back up and are playing their best basketball again when it matters. Grand Canyon, Alabama. This game was pretty close until the end, and Alabama was pulled away late. But Alabama also shocking a lot of teams. People thought that they would lose early, first or second round, but they have moved on. So credit to Alabama for stepping up. Northwestern and UConn. This one was a bit closer than we thought, and then UConn pulled away late, 75 to 58. But still a pretty dominant performance. Northwestern had a really great player. You'll see his name. Pretty much willed the team to where they have been the past couple of years. It's get this Lamberg guy. Pretty certain. Great career at Northwestern. Texas A&M and Houston. This was the game of the day. It went to overtime. Houston was up uh, by quite a bit. I think about 6 points, only a couple with only like maybe 30 seconds left. And Texas A&M found a way to come back, hit a buzzer beater 3-point shot to send the game to overtime. And then in overtime, they just. In fact, Houston actually had I think like 5 players out. They had LJ Cryer and someone else out. Let's see who they had out because they had really good players out, and they just found a way. They willed themselves to win. Yeah, Cryer had 5 fouls. Francis had 5 fouls. Sharp and Shed both had 5 fouls. So all of their starting 5 but one fouled out, and they had to have a super senior come in. Evelyn guy, he's like a 5th-year redshirt senior who's never really played that much. Had to hit a clutch free throw, and he did. Wade Taylor had 21 points. Radford had 27 points and just was not enough in overtime. Houston, without their starting 5, essentially found a way to pull up the victory and was very impressive because I was like, whoa, A&M might beat these cats. But Houston found a way to win, and credit to them because people thought that Houston deserved to be a top seeded team because they didn't play nobody, and then they obviously switched to the Big 12 this year and then still won. Well, actually, they lost in the final, but they still were the regular season champions and still was essentially the best team in the Big 12 all year long. Even though people thought they were going to have a down year and not do well in the Big 12, but they have proven that they are a true team not to be trifled with, and they are a true powerhouse in college basketball right now. Then San Diego State and Yale. San Diego State wins convincingly, 85-57. So people might think that the Auburn game was a fluke, which of course it was. There are flukes in March Madness, and that's what upsets are. They're flukes. But San Diego State playing very well. And again, San Diego State was a team not predicted to be in Sweet 16, but they are, winning convincingly 85-57. So let's go ahead and get to the official bracket and see what we've got cooking for us on Thursday. We've got number 1 UConn, number 5 San Diego State. This is in fact a rematch of last year's championship game where UConn smacked San Diego State. So we will see if San Diego State can get that sweet revenge and stop UConn from repeating, but I do not think it's going to happen. I think this will be actually another blowout. I think UConn will decimate San Diego State, winning by at least 10, 15 points. We've got Illinois and Iowa State, and this game will be a very close game, very down to the wire. We'll see who wins. I personally would pick Iowa State to win this game. I think they're more a complete team and have the better defense. We have also not seen Illinois be very successful in the past. This is probably one of their best years, even though they've been on the upswing, but this is their best year by far, at least in the tournament. Then we've got number 1 North Carolina, Alabama. Now this could be a potential upset. Again, people thought that Alabama will lose late, but they could. They are firing on all cylinders now, and they are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation. They chuck up a lot of threes, and if they get hot, they could beat North Carolina for sure. So mark this game right here. You're gonna want to watch this game. Either one thing's gonna happen. Either Alabama's gonna have a poor shooting night, and North Carolina's going to decimate them, or Alabama's going to get hot and they're going to potentially upset North Carolina in a close game. So watch out for this one. Clemson and Arizona, another potential upset right here. Clemson is a good team playing their best basketball, proving their doubters wrong. Watch out for this right here. It should be a close and fun game. We've got Purdue on Gonzaga, another potential upset right here. I personally would like to see Gonzaga pull through, and I think Gonzaga will win this game. I think they will upset Purdue. So we have a lot of good games coming up in Sweet 16. Then we've got Creighton and Tennessee. Now this is just I have no idea because Tennessee has been known to not show up. So has Creighton, but they're both playing very well, and we'll see what happens. And then going back up, we've got Houston and Duke, the old blue blood versus the I guess not really new blue blood, but the new powerhouse. Duke again was one of those teams that people thought were overrated this year, and I would honestly agree. They did not have a good regular season, but they are playing like Duke finally. And this will be a tough matchup for Houston. I think this will be an even tougher matchup. This will be another test for Houston because they've had a test here, and they're going to have a big test right here. If Houston can beat Duke and have that notch under the belt, then they, I think, will make it to the national championship if they beat Duke. Then we got NC State and Marquette. NC State, the 11th seed. I suppose what you would say is the only Cinderella left because we've got pretty high seeds. We've got 1, a 5, a 3, a 2, a 1, a 4, 6, 2. So we've got 1, 5. So NC State is the only team outside of a top 6 school that's in the tournament. So they are the one true, I guess, Cinderella team left. And they are playing very, very well versus number Marquette. It's going to be a good matchup. I do think that all these games will be close, besides potentially the Alabama North Carolina game and potentially the UConn and San Diego State game. So I'm really excited for this Sweet 16. And honestly, there have been some upsets, but again, NC State being the only 11 seed, there's a lot of high seeds still left. So not as many upsets as we normally see in the final, in the March Madness. There have been some bracket busters, but not absolute chaos like it was last year, in the last couple of years. But I'm still really excited to see what we've got coming up in store. It's going to be a great, great end to the March Madness. And how sweet it is to be in the Sweet 16, to be still dancing, be still battling, and playing this beautiful game that we love, basketball. And again, please do leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content, and as always, comment down below how your bracket is doing. And hope you guys have a great day, and stay frosty.